Hello, everybody. Today we're going to rebuild a waterfall pump for a koi pond. I was doing a spring maintenance, and when I went to pull the pump out of the water, there was a little ice I didn't realize was there, and I broke the housing on the pump. So, if everything goes well today, that's the plan. I've got a Danner mag drive pump, 1800 gallon per hour, and we're going to rebuild the pump. So, if this all works well, we'll have a video in a little bit. So, let's get started. Okay, what I'm going to do today, I broke the top of my pump at a Danner 1800 gallon per hour pump. And when I broke the top off of it, I broke the impeller. So we're going to replace that. And just in case somebody else has something, I'm not going to list these parts because you might not have the exact same pump, but just to know you can replace the parts rather than buy a whole new pump for $184. I think the parts were about 50. So I'll show you what we're going to do in just a sec. Now you can see here on the pump what happened is I actually pulled on this, I broke it. It was old. This pump's 10 years old, maybe 12. But anyway, and most likely I could have rebuilt the impeller. I'll show you that in detail in a couple of minutes here. But anyway, I want to show you what we're going to do. Uh, just these screws come out. The impeller just slides out. Once I get everything done, I'll get this edited down so it's not taking quite so much space. But anyway, we'll go a step at a time here. So for now, I'm going to pull these screws out, then we'll take another look. Yeah, that took about 45 seconds or a minute, something like that. And there's all the screws. You want to be sure you don't drop them in the pond. But here's the broken piece. And I'm going to clean this off a little bit. The impeller, if you haven't ever worked on these, it just pulls out. Okay, these are the pieces of the impeller. That's the impeller itself. There's a ceramic shaft that goes through here, and then there's a bearing surface on each end of it. And when I broke this housing off, this bearing surface goes into that hole right there. When I broke the housing off, it broke the ceramic rod. So really all I needed to do was change the ceramic rod, but for expediency's sake, I just went ahead and bought a new impeller. Uh, that was 30, $40, 40-ish dollars. So I could have saved quite a bit of money by not doing it. But now I'll have a spare because I will just go ahead and buy another ceramic rod to put in there. And this is the replacement. As you see, it was very, very well packaged because the ceramic piece is very delicate. But anyway, that's all that's in there is a ceramic rod. This just drops back down in the pump. Top goes on and we're back in service. The new housing came with a new O-ring. The O-ring goes down into this groove right here. So what I do, I just get a toothpick, pop it out of there. I get an old toothbrush and go around through there, make sure there's no goop in there. And while I'm in here, you get a little algae buildup and stuff inside this area here where the actual mag drive prop goes. Just clean that out. Service the pump while you have it apart, and in a couple of minutes we'll be back in business. Installation of new O-ring is very easy. Just lay it in place, push it down into the groove, and that's it. You don't need to use any sealant or glue or anything on it. Just make sure it's pushed down into the groove, and you're done with that part. Now all we're going to do is literally just set the impeller down in there. That's it. It's got a little bit of turn in there in case you haven't used one of these before. That's normal. There's a stop. It only rotates so far. Now we just put the new piece back on the top and we're done. Install my hoses first because it's kind of hard to turn the pump and the wires and everything um, to screw this back into the hose adapter. So I'll screw that into there, then I'll mount it on the pump and we're done. One other thing I should probably mention in case you're new to doing stuff like this, these are a self-tapping screw going into plastic. Uh, I'm going to shut my Bluetooth headset off so you can actually hear this, and I'll show you what I do. When I set this screw in here, I actually turn it backwards, and you'll hear a click, and that's when the threads are lined up, so you're not making a new set of threads. If you cut a new set of threads every time you pull this apart to clean it or whatever, it will eventually ruin the body of the pump. So let me get the Bluetooth headset turned off, and we'll see if we can hear this click. Okay, see what we can do. So you can see, I actually see the screw when it pops back down. Once you hear that click, then it turns very easy, going back through the same threads that it originally came from. So that's it, and we're see if I can turn the headset back on now. Okay, so that's it, and we've got the pump ready to go. Put the hose on it, hook it back up to my filter, and I'll show you what the waterfall looks like in a minute. I'll show you the modifications that I did on the filter in case anybody's interested in that. I'm going to say a couple of things about the magnetic drive pump. This one is 1,800 gallons per hour. I'm not affiliated with Danner or Pond Master or anybody else. No affiliate links or sponsorships or anything. Just an opinion. I like the magnetic drive pumps because there's no oil in them. The other thing is, since it's a magnetic drive, you have electricity going through the coils. The magnet is internal on that impeller that I showed you. Um, for some reason, if the pump gets plugged up and it doesn't turn, the pump is submerged, it stays cool. There's no problem. You're still using electricity, but you're not damaging the pump. This just in case you didn't see this, I can't remember if I mentioned it or not. I keep a couple of old toothbrushes for stuff like this. Use them for automotive work also. But then when they get nasty, I throw them away and then use my next replacement toothbrush um, as a substitute for this one. Anyway, I'll show you what I've got for the filter. First off, I'll show you that the filter actually does work. I'm going to disassemble this, clean it, and show you what's inside. I'll show you what I have on this filter. And I cleaned it up a little bit. I can't find a name or a model number on it anywhere. So if anybody knows what this is, you can put it in the comments. I've had this for 15 years or so. My primary purpose for a filter is water flow to my waterfall. So I don't have a lot of filtration. I'm just keeping the big particles out of my pump. Now, this thing originally came with some sort of foam and stuff in it, and it it would plug up. I'd lose volume in my waterfall too quickly. So all this is 3/4 inch PVC. Um, I've put something together. I didn't have a milling machine or know anybody that had one, so I did something with my drill and put a sanding disc off of a um, Dremel tool, I think. And anyway, I made a little adapter and I machined the sides of this down so that it would fit in these two rows, and then I cut holes in them so that I'd get hopefully continuous water flow. That fits down in there pretty snug, as you can see. And then I just push it down against the end that the outlet is on to keep any debris from sneaking around. Nothing real scientific about it. What I find, there's a right way, a wrong way, my way, and sometimes there's an overlap in between those. And there's very few things in the way of DIY projects that there's only one way. And when you get to stuff like this, there's not really a only one way solution. This is just more 3/4 inch PVC. I'm only using this as a spacer. Those go down in here. Then this stuff here, this was part of an air filter And I just put those down in there as a spacer for the spacer. And these are more spacers. And this stuff right here, I get it in the craft department. I got this at Walmart. I think they use it for I don't know if it's called needlepoint or what. Somebody can put in the comments what the proper name for this stuff is, because if you go in and tell them I want to make a DIY waterfall filter for my pond, and they tell me that you can get this stuff at Walmart for it, you know, they're not going to know what you're talking about. So somebody please put in the comment what this stuff really is. And this is what these were. I cut them into small pieces so they fit into here. Put this on top. Now, if you need more filtration, you could put some kind of a piece of foam across the top. You could put even a piece of material. So sew the material to the edges of this so that it keeps it in place, and even just a piece of fabric on there would help greatly. Um, Give you more filtration than what this does. This is just keeping chunks of leaves and stuff out of my pump. You can also put an air conditioner filter, cut it to fit inside here. You can use the foam ones or the ones with the fiber strands in them. Either one works just fine. So I'll put this back together, turn on the waterfall, and let you see what it looks like. Okay, here's the waterfall with everything going. Got a couple of other projects with parts laying around, but gives you an idea anyway. All of the stuff is dead. My hens and chicks are not turning green quite yet, but you know, the ice is just now going away, so we're starting into spring shortly. And I dug this pond about, I don't know, 15 or 18 years ago with a shovel and put all the rocks for the waterfall in there by hand. So it was a fun project. I encourage anybody that wants to do it to think about it twice. First off, I want to thank everybody, if you're still here, for being here. And if you got something out of this, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, uh, put them down below. I'll get to them as quick as I can. If you know somebody that this might help, forward it to them. And I've got a couple other projects in the hopefully near future. I want to build a couple of bird feeders. If you have any interest in that, subscribe and kind of keep track with what I'm doing here. Mostly just going to be projects that I'm doing around the house, modifying stuff, rebuilding stuff, fixing stuff I went gorilla on and broke. So anyway, I appreciate everybody. Have a great day, and we'll catch you down the road somewhere.